Greetings, it is I, Susie Q, here in sunny Scottsdale. And I've been really doing a lot of the Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique practitioner, level 2. And I'm just right here in sunny Scottsdale, kind of close to Tempe. And I'm really kind of looking at more people that want to come in. You know, I love sharing some of this material with QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, the work of Dolores Cannon. And so right now I'm going to focus on one experience that might be kind of interesting for you to listen to some of these stories. And so basically we're going to go really quick with a past life, and then we're going to go into what we call a death scene. And so sometimes when you're, in a past life or a future life or concurrent running timeline, as above, so below, all of that is percolating, right? And so when you start looking at when a person has gone into that first hour of a past life, and then they start kind of receding, and then they're going into that death scene, that is where we get a lot of amazing guidance and understanding. We're looking at divine purposes and divine lessons. And so sometimes when we're thinking about past lives and all that, it's like, oh, we're going to be kings and queens, or, but most of them are very simple experiences with a death scene. And sometimes you might take a look at that person who's already receding energies, and then you might just take a look at just a few simple things that happened during a death scene. And it's really kind of extraordinary, because what we start getting is like the divine purpose. Sometimes they might say, well, I'm just here with my family. Was a real simple experience. It was really kind of maybe I was I was always alone, and maybe I died, in that way. And all of these experiences are really helping each one of us to get a little bit more guidance. So maybe a person didn't have anybody, maybe they were kind of out in the woods and something happened like that. You start kind of getting a little bit of a nibble of some things that they might want to consider. Maybe they enjoyed being out in the moonlight. Maybe they like to be near a river. Maybe they had a little hut, or maybe they had some really simple things going on. And so sometimes we think when there's these death scenes coming, or when they're coming in, you start thinking like, oh, it's going to be extraordinarily a big deal. But most of the times, we have a lot of simple past lives, when it's very simple people that were just kind of moving through these energies. And so for a while, I was just really, really looking at some of the simplicity of some of these experiences. Sometimes I had one of my own past lives, and I was a young girl. I was barefoot, and there was no family. She just kept walking, and she kept, just kind of looking around. And then I think she just went into a different state of consciousness, and then that started to recede. So the more that we kind of look at some of these death scenes, we get some of these just real simple things, just like it could be, maybe that there might have been a divine lesson there. What did we need to do different? What do we need to create? What else happened in that story with this person that had passed? So all of these energies are really helping us to get a little bit more guidance, a little bit more understanding about what happened with some of these stories. I love embracing and sharing this material because, when we think about death scenes, it's really kind of like you could have like a family. Let's just say that you have a little bit more prosperity with some of these old stories, and maybe the family was all there. Maybe they were all with mom or grandmother or grandfather, and all of that has been extremely beneficial for a lot of people who may be receding now. Maybe there's some people that that would like to tell a little bit about your story before you pass, before you go into that death scene. So a lot of that energy it's really kind of a quiet space. If a person is getting ready to recede from consciousness, you could just be real quiet and have, if there's some family members or some children there, it could be kind of like a joyful experience to be a witness of somebody who is already beginning to recede from consciousness and going back into spirit. Then we also look at, once a person has passed, You might go into the future with the experience with what happened after the death scene, and then you might get some kind of more guidance. I would always ask these questions like, what are you experiencing now, or what are you experiencing with that light, or is there anything that you can give us a little pearl of wisdom? And sometimes we do get some of that information when somebody's passed. They've already receded, and they're going into other states of consciousness. And we can keep asking, like, where else are you going now? Are you going to another place? Sometimes they get really quiet after they've passed. Maybe they get really, really quiet. But then sometimes we can kind of dig in there a little bit and see if we can get some guidance. What happened with the death scene, and were there other people there? Are you seeing anything? Or is there any energy? Is there any light that you're noticing? So, once they've passed, you can just ask a bunch of different questions. And I've done that a number of times with some of the patients, not the patients, but some of the sessions that I do. I really embrace this piece, because it's sometimes like death scenes, are kind of like, wow, what's that all about? But really what it is it's a past life. It's a past life or a future life or another sense of being. And all of this energy that we're working with right now is helping us, because once that death scene has already receded, they've already gone into spirit, they've gone into a different form of consciousness, we just start kind of accessing and getting more guidance from that death, from the person that has passed. And so that, again, like I said, lessons and divine purposes are always good. And most of the time, like I said, a lot of these things are very simple. Simplicity. There's just a few words. A lot of people are thinking there's just this extraordinary experience with a death scene. But a lot of times it's just very simple. It's very quiet. And again, like I said, you could have family there, or maybe people, many years ago, or through past lives, you might see that they're in a village, or maybe they're near a lake or a creek or something, and they might pass right there. So all of these energies that I have been, just kind of like having a great time learning a little bit more about myself and a little bit more about divine purpose and divine lessons. All of this has been extraordinarily amazing for me to share some of these sentiments. I could tell you all kinds of different ways that people have died in some of these sessions. But again, I really want to let you know that these are past lives, or they could be future lives. I've had people come in with future lives, and they came through maybe 2,300 years ago. It was like so crazy, like 2,300. I don't even know how to say that, but I can go way far into the future, and we get some of that guidance as well. So right now, I think that's it. I just wanted to talk about the death scene. It's just, it's kind of like a gift if you're close to somebody that's getting ready to pass, and you're there in that space. I mean, that is a beautiful, beautiful experience to be in that presence of that spirit and that beautiful experience of life, So, okay, so I think that's it for now. And we'll just talk a little bit later. But I really was focusing on what happens during the death scene. So it's really extraordinarily beautiful and very, very spiritual. So we'll see you soon. And namaste.